Hey guys, what is up? So it is here. Nicolette Gray came out with the first episode of the rise and fall of the Beverly Hills Brat, episode 1, The Rise. So the video starts off very like documentary vibes, the music, dramatic, the flashbacks of basically YouTubers like PewDiePie commenting or teasing Nicolette Gray on her Dr. Phil appearance, and then you have like, you know, the media also commenting on, oh my gosh, this rich Beverly Hills brat, you know? So that's how the intro starts. So this episode starts off with Nicolette always telling us that she's actually always wanted to become a YouTuber. Like Nicolette went to her mom like around 8 to 9 years of age and was like, you know, I want to be a YouTuber. And Nina, of course, very supportive, got her the equipment that she needed. Or Anita mentions that her mom also helped in that process of getting Nicolette like a camera, a tripod, all that jazz. Now this was interesting. I thought it was pretty weird that they had Nicolette's ex-best friend, Christian Aaron. He was, you know, you can tell he's going to be in the interview process throughout the series, it seems like. And so he was commenting and he was saying how, you know, Nicolette has always wanted to be like the next Jake Paul. Then they dive into how Nicolette always hated school. And mind you, they've shared this before. And one of the comments I kept seeing when watching this video was, I hope they're not just going to keep repeating everything we already know. Like a lot of the fans, they want new info. They want new intel. Like what's really going on. Like, Nicolette and Amanda Diaz, what's that about? So then the episode talks about how Nicolette, she didn't like school. And so she would be really depressed. And she just couldn't function. I mean, Nicolette even says that she got to a point where she would go to school, take an exam, and just circle in the Scantrons, like anything in the bubbles just to be done with school. Nina even mentions that Nicolette was being bullied in school, how Nicolette, you know, she said she was a vegetarian, and then there was kids like throwing meat at her. So Nina thought it was the best decision for Nicolette to be homeschooled. And then there's a scene where they all pressure Blair to participate in a TikTok with Nicolette. It's funny. And then they start to talk about how Nicolette applied for the Dr. Phil show. Originally, it was just a joke. And I know Nicolette has shared like a lot of this with us already, but initially it was a joke and she didn't really think anything of it. She was apparently FaceTiming her friend at the time. Long story short, she wrote in an inquiry. They got back to her and she couldn't believe that she was going to be on the Dr. Phil show. She mentions when her mom got home that they had to make a video, and you know, Nina couldn't believe this was all happening. She was just kind of like, what did you do? Because originally Nina thought that they were going to be sitting in the audience. She didn't know they were actually going to be on stage like the main character. And then Nicolette says the next thing you know, there was people at the house, they were filming, there was lights everywhere, and the production company from Dr. Phil was asking Nina and Nicolette questions. And then Nicolette goes on to say when the production company was asking her questions, they were like, you know, drama it up a little bit, you know, be dramatic. You want a reality show after this, don't you? And so Nicolette was like, okay, I'm gonna give it my all. Now the next part was interesting because Nina dives into how her mom didn't approve of her being on the Dr. Phil show. And I know she's talked about this in some past videos, but I had no idea that because she went on the Dr. Phil show, her and her mom didn't speak for a year. Nina goes on to say that her dad would call her, but her dad would have to call her at his office because he wasn't allowed to speak to her. And I thought that was very interesting because, I mean, I know they've talked about it, how, you know, Nina's parents are very old school. It's like you have to go to school to be a doctor. That's it. A doctor, I guess, was viewed as the best occupation to have. So I thought it was very interesting when Nina mentioned that her mom said that if you go on this Dr. Phil show, we're going to disown you, no inheritance. And I was like, whoa. So, and this all transpired because Nina needed her mom to watch Blair, Nicolette's sister, so they could go on the Dr. Phil show. And the next day, Nina didn't know if her mom was going to show up, but her mom did show up, and Nina was so shocked because Nina was like, I was just going to leave Blair with like one of the people from the production, you know? And so when Nina's mom showed up, Nina's mom was like, if you go, you know, don't ever talk to me again. Basically saying the same thing, how, you know, we're going to disown you. Nina left anyways with Nicolette. So I thought that was very interesting, and they didn't speak for a year. Wow. Nina goes on to say that her family was ashamed that they were on the Dr. Phil show. Like, how dare you be on that disgusting show? Now, Nicolette goes on to say that that was a huge reason why Nina held back on the show. Like, Nina didn't really speak her opinion because, you know, she had that whole conversation in the back of her head with her mom. Now, I thought it was interesting because we all know Nicolette doesn't have a relationship with her father. I mean, her father tried to sue her. So we already know that. But it was interesting because Nicolette mentioned that she had seen her father like 2 years after her YouTube success. And he was like, oh, well, good for you. So that was really the only conversation they had about her success. Now, if you've watched Nina's YouTube videos, you already know she's a really great mom. And I thought that it was very telling when she talked about how she really wanted to support her kids and whatever they want to do, because she didn't get that. You know, Nina goes on to say how she wanted to be like a race car driver, and, you know, her parents shut that dream down real quick, you know, so you can tell that's where it all stems from. You know, she's never gonna hold her kids back the way how her parents held her back. Now, around 14 minutes into the video, we get back to the ex-best friend Christian Aaron's commentary. Take a listen.
She created this image, but she never thought that she'd have to actually be this image. Like, she just created a paragraph about her mom taking her money and how she wants a G-Wagon, and this most, like, absurd person. It doesn't really exist.
Now I get why they added Christian Aaron in there, just because he was one of the few people who knew that Nicolette was applying to the Dr. Phil show. And we all know Nicolette has come out and said that that's not her personality, that's not who she is. And then 16 minutes into the video, that's when they bring on Christian, the other Christian who we really care about, right? And so they bring him on, and Christian, he talks about how, well, he didn't really know in the beginning if Nicolette was really that brat from Beverly Hills, right? Is she? And then he tells us that he discovered quickly that she's a really nice girl, that is a completely fake personality. But he does state that, you know, there is some truth to that storyline, that Nicolette did like to spend a lot of money. So now they start to talk about May 1st when the episode went live, and Nicolette goes that she was very nervous just because she didn't want to look like a complete idiot. You know, did she do all of this just to make a fool out of herself and not go viral? That's all she ever wanted from this show, was to basically go viral, and I understand. I did think it was interesting that Nina didn't know exactly what they were all going to talk about on stage, because Nicolette mentions when she arrived at Dr. Phil, you know, she was in this dressing room, which she says was very depressing, and they gave her a scone that she didn't eat. But, you know, she said that there was someone who went over the storylines with her. So I thought, would that have been the same case for Nina? But I guess not. But Nina goes on to say that she wasn't looking for Dr. Phil to say to her, like, you're a bad mom. Take a listen.
I'm like, I thought we were gonna chit chat a little bit. Hi, how are you? And he went right into, you're a bad mom. I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah, I've said that overindulgence is a form of child abuse. It does cripple a child.
I was so numb on the show, I couldn't even lift my legs up.
So that was unfortunate, but I think it's just funny how the family didn't know what they were getting themselves into. Like, you're on Dr. Phil, dude. Now, Nina talks about after they left, after they were done shooting, they all went back to the house and they all went into separate areas. Nina poured herself a glass of wine, and they didn't speak to each other for the whole entire day because it was just, everyone was so shocked that they just did all that. Nina talks about the uncomfortable feeling she felt when the Dr. Phil episode aired. Yes, people at her job were praising her. She works in a dental office. She is a dentist, so she had like the TVs and people were watching her on TV on Dr. Phil. She said the whole thing was just really weird, like, no, like, stop. And she didn't want to be working on a kid's teeth, and they were like, oh my gosh, are you that mom? You know, she just says it was definitely an experience for sure. Nicolette goes on to say how she could not watch her Dr. Phil episode for a while. She says now she recently started to watch it again and she can laugh at herself, but she just couldn't watch it. And I'm sure it's gotta be uncomfortable. Like, I can't watch my own YouTube videos because it's weird looking at myself, but for her, she was playing a whole different personality where people actually thought that was herself, like that's her real self. So I understand why she cringed every time she saw herself on Dr. Phil. So the episode ends with Nina and Nicolette. They're walking down the street and you hear a voiceover of Nina talking about how she was glad she was able to film YouTube videos with Nicolette because Nicolette no longer looked at her or viewed her as the mom who lectures. She was able to be more than a mom. They were actually able to have fun in their YouTube videos together. I'm excited. I really cannot wait to watch the next episode. I don't know. They didn't tell us if it was going to be a daily thing. They didn't tell us if this was going to be like a weekly thing. I feel like maybe with Nicolette it might be a weekly thing, but who knows? But whenever she uploads the next video, I definitely will review because I'm excited to watch a series. Everyone's hoping that this is going to be like the defibrillator to wake up her channel again, you know, because her channel is not doing so great, but I feel like she just needed some time to be off social media for whatever personal reasons, whatever she was going through, and I'm hoping that she's going to share with us what that was. So yeah, that was it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys.